I'm Robert Biel, and I teach and research political ecology and also sustainable food systems. There is an interesting connection between them, and we deal with a long-term transformation, which is to rediscover a nature-friendly mode of being. And at the same time, there is an immediate change which we need, which is to decarbonize our economy and halt biodiversity loss. What is the relationship between those two goals? You might ask whether we should simply put the long-term stuff on hold for a few years and concentrate on the urgent stuff. But the reason we can't do that is because the harm which is embedded in is created by systems. And we have systems which are wrong at every level, and this is the large-scale ecological issue, but also food systems as a case study in that. And these systems have got to be redesigned, and in order to do that we have to borrow the principles from the past and from the future of a much more radical change. So we're forced to be radical in a way, whether we like it or not. And what we can do is move towards nature-inspired systems, which I'm trying to look at concretely in terms of food. And this includes both the model of cultivation itself and the way in which we organize different aspects of the food system, such as the exchange. And obviously, because the DPU is urban focused, I'm very interested in looking at how urban food security is created, notably in terms of the city region. So all of these systems can be inspired by nature and redesigned on this basis. So I am a practitioner and I'm a food grower, and I try to be self-sufficient in what I produce. And what I try to do is to follow methods which not only regenerate the soil but improve it, and trigger a benign positive feedback loop between carbon sequestration and enhanced soil fertility. This is interesting at the level I do it, but it's not my main livelihood. And so the really big issue is how we can turn this into a viable livelihood model, particularly for farmers who are suffering very severe problems in terms of their livelihoods at the present time. This is where the issue connects with the politics in political ecology, because we are dealing with some very reactionary and dangerous tendencies which are setting back the climate agenda. And this particularly is a question of right-wing populism, which is exploiting and manipulating a sense of marginalization and neglect among rural and small town dwellers. But that the marginalization and neglect are real, so we need to address this. The problem is that the sustainable cultivation method looks a bit too much like toil. And so the question is how we can overcome that association. And I think what's really important here is a new generation of tech which can enable us to really solve the problem with the application of machines, AI, robotics, etc. But also, most importantly, I think, direct connection between producers and consumers, urban consumers, using various methods such as apps which facilitate community-supported agriculture. So there are a range of very interesting approaches which we can follow to bring this result about. And this is a very exciting time for a kind of multi-pronged food sustainability revolution.